So what's up everyone, this is Gourav here. So I published an article on Jekyll Blog about adding multiple authors to a Jekyll powered blog. So I've shown two methods over here. One is the traditional approach using data files, and the second approach is about using my plugin jekyll-auto-authors that I made recently, and I'll be showing you the process of adding multiple authors to a Jekyll powered blog. So let's jump right into it. So as you can see, I've got this pixel theme over here, which I cloned recently, and the server is running up here. And now you can see that this post is not having any kind of author functionality, and all the posts are general posts. So we'll be adding author functionality over here. So I'll guide you through the article. So first we need to do some setup about adding the plugin to the gem file. So we copy these two gems and add it to a gem file, and I'll explain you why we are using these two gems. So come to your gem file and drop it over here. And once you do that, you just need to run bundle install, and that will fetch these gems and install it over there. So now the next step is to actually set up the configuration file. So what the jekyll-auto-authors plugin do is it gets the author auto pages configuration and generates multiple author pages based on that. And if there's pagination set for it, it also applies the pagination to the author pages. So the auto generated author pages are also paginated so that each author page has minimum load time. So for example, let's say if each page has about 9 posts and each post has a thumbnail, if we actually combine them all in a page, it can get really huge load time. So we want to paginate that to reduce the loading speed to a minimum. So this plugin actually helps in that. So we need to define a pagination configuration. We'll copy this configuration and add it to the config file. So we come to the config.yaml file and scroll down to add a pagination configuration over here. So we add a configuration and we enable it. So I'll define per page to 2 because this is just for testing purposes to show that pagination is working. And since there are not many posts over here, we'll just set to 2, which is a small number. So this configuration, this is the default configuration that I'll keep. Now next up, we need an auto pages configuration for the authors. So jekyll-auto-authors is a plugin that works in synchronization with Jekyll paginate v2. So the Jekyll paginate v2 has got some inbuilt auto pages configuration files, and it did not support auto pages. So this jekyll-auto-authors works in combination with Jekyll paginate v2 to add this functionality there. So inside the auto pages block, we'll copy this author configuration and add it over here. As you can see, Jekyll paginate v2 has got some auto pages configuration already. So we won't touch that. We just need to add our authors configuration inside the auto pages. So the other configuration remain as it is. So inside the authors configuration, we first define whether it's enabled or not, and then we define the data file. So this data file contains all the metadata about an author. So we'll generate this file right now. So we create a data folder, and inside it we create an authors.yaml file. And there I will define some authors which we'll use to generate author pages. I'll copy these two author configurations and use it as a testing purposes. So this is a very minimum configuration. We need the name of the author, we need a bio, and for example, let's say we need email and we need some socials. So we add it over here to the authors file and close it because that's it for the data configuration. Now we need a layout for the authors page, which we will use to list the author pages and their posts. So we create a layouts page for authors.html, and we get a bare minimum configuration from this article. So over the bottom, I've given this basic template for authors.html, which you can use. So I'll copy this template and add it over here. So what we are doing over here is we are getting the author object from the pagination object inside the page, and we're getting the author data. So jekyll-auto-authors actually exposes the author data inside this variable, which we can use to render the author data on the page. So we render it over here, render the bio over here, and the name and bio, and we get the social links and we show them over here. So there are two methods. If a person wants auto pages but doesn't want pagination, so they can use this code. And otherwise, if you want pagination, you can use this code over here. So we need pagination, so we'll remove this piece of code. So the article actually says we need this postbox.html file. Since we don't have the postbox.html layout, we'll use some basic elements. Let's say we just want to show the title of the post. So we add this title over here. So that's it for the author layout. Now what we need to do is we just need to go to each post. So I go to this post and add author John Doe over here. Now I copy this and add it to about 3 posts, let's say 4 posts, and for the rest too I'll use Jane Doe, which we defined over in the data file. So now one thing we forgot to do was to go to the config file and enable all plugins over there. So inside the plugin block, we need to enable Jekyll paginate v2 and we need to enable Jekyll auto-authors. So do note that the Jekyll paginate v2 and Jekyll paginate plugin can't work in order, so we need to remove this one, and we remove the pagination from here. And also we have this paginate for this variable, we don't need it, so we'll remove this. So one mistake I did was we need to check the name. So inside the layouts folder we have authors.html, but here we are defining author, so we rename it to author.html. Also we need auto pages to be enabled, and also we don't need categories, tags and collections to be enabled by default. So the plugin Jekyll paginate v2 plugin has some problem that the default values are set to true, so we need, if we don't need the auto pages for these values, we need to disable them by ourselves. So now we can restart our server. Now we can check the underscore site folder, and we can see that there's an author folder over there, and which has both Jane Doe and John Doe folder, and the Jane Doe folder is just one file because there are just 2 posts with the author Jane Doe. And in the John Doe folder we actually have an index.html file, and there's a page folder, and inside the page there's a number 2 which has an index.html file. So that's basically what we set over here. So by default the plugin will generate an index page at authors folder with the name of the author, and there would be an index.html file. And once the per page parameter has passed, it will generate the other pages inside this permalink. So by default it will generate over here, and it will append this URL behind it. So there's this folder for John Doe, and it will generate the page folder inside it, and the number would be replaced by whatever the pagination number is there. So now we can come to the author folder over here and check there's John Doe, and there are 2 posts over there. If you need to add a next and previous page button, you can check this documentation for Jekyll paginate v2. I'll link to it in the description. Since our pagination is working correctly, I won't add the next and previous buttons because this is just for testing purposes. So we'll check for Jane Doe too. So we are seeing that the posts are getting paginated correctly, and also we have the Twitter and GitHub handles set up correctly. Now if you want to link to the author page inside every post, you can edit the post.html layout for your theme and add it wherever you want. So let's say we want to add it over here, so we'll get this element and we'll assign it to page.author, and for the href link we'll link to author and assign page.author over here. So this will work because we want to link to the author page, and the author page is always known to be there in the author folder, and because the username doesn't change, we can use the page.author variable to get the username of the author, and we can assign it over here. And let's say we don't want to show the username of author over here, but we want to show the name. So what we can do is we just type site.data.authors, and then we define page.author in the array. So we get the element from the site.data and we assign it to name. So what this does is it gets the name over here and links to the author page using the author username, and this will link to the author page correctly. So this way you can edit your theme to actually add the author data over there. So that's it for the video. I showed you how to add multiple authors to a Jekyll powered blog very easily with the plugin I made. So if you liked the video, please hit the like button and press the subscribe button too. If you need any help, please comment it down in the comment box or join our Discord server over here. I'll leave the link to the description, and also you can check out our awesome community at Jekyll Blog. If you need to read this article and check out the traditional approach, which actually has some caveats, but if you are interested in learning more about that, I'll also link to it in the description. You can check that out too. Thank you.